I developed New Warfield. It's a totally fictional city. And I wanted to make it fictional because most cities have certain procedures, certain regulations that the police have to abide by. I didn't want to get into that. So I basically created New Warfield based on Wilmington, Delaware. So I actually, a lot of the stuff that you read in the book, if you live in Delaware, you'll kind of catch some of the phrasing and such. It's based on Wilmington in that sense. I have a map of Wilmington. I went through and changed all the streets so that I have some continuity in the book. And the setting is basically a small city. So New Warfield is a small city similar to Wilmington. I used the 1993 time frame mainly because I wanted Joy and Edward to come over from Haiti to Florida. And back in 93, that's when they had the Haitian refugee thing with all the boats coming across. So I wanted the two of them to be on the same boat coming over to Florida. And then their campaign throughout the U.S., basically going up the East Coast, the 95 corridor. So New Warfield is somewhere on the East Coast, but it's not really located anywhere in there. But by doing 1993, I had to go back and see what law was like back then. I had to know what TV shows were on, what movies were out, all that sort of research that I had to do. So 93, for example, they didn't really have a lot of the things that we have now. So a lot of the genetic stuff is not there. They didn't have any of that DNA kind of thing back then. It was just starting, but they had no database or anything to use for that. So I had to go through and figure out what cars they were driving. There's a lot of research involved with setting it at 93. I had to read a lot about police procedures, even though it was fiction and I wasn't sticking to, in particular, regulations. I read a lot of books, and I have a cousin who was a cop, and he's a county cop. I bounced ideas off of him a lot. I actually went to the local police academy, the Citizen Police Academy, and learned a lot of stuff hands-on. So I was trying to get into the mind frame of a cop, and the procedures. I didn't want to be too specific on the procedures, but I wanted to get the whole idea of what a cop does in reality. I've always been interested in voodoo, the culture. And, I looked into Santeria, which is in Cuba. A lot of the voodoo came from Africa, obviously. But Haiti is where, to me, the central point is for voodoo. If you go to New Orleans, they have voodoo there, but it's totally commercialized. It's not actually voodoo in the sense that Haiti is. So I had to make sure that Edward and Joy came from Haiti, because that, to me, is where voodoo is situated. So using the voodoo, but in the book, voodoo is kind of stretched in the sense that Edward is using it for his own purposes. So someone who actually practices voodoo would not agree with a lot of what's in the book because it flaunts the whole thing that they believe in. So Edward is basically bastardizing voodoo and using it for his own purposes, and a lot of the violence and so forth is based on the way he perceives voodoo, not the way an actual practitioner does. One of the things I liked about writing this book is the research. I'm very much I'm basically a research guy, and I mean that's what I do for my editing jobs and so forth. So the research aspect of it was very much fun for me, and to be able to use that in a fictional sense is kind of cool. So you have to have some literary license. So you have to go beyond what's real, but put enough real in there so that people think it's real. So you can bury a grain of falsehood in a mountain of truth, and the research helps you do that, which is kind of cool.